Welcome in, everybody, to the JJ and Pug Show, episode 5.
Yes, we're here.
It's funny, I said that I wasn't going to start saying that anymore. I was done with the episode numbers, but for some reason, it just
comes out.
Yeah,
it just comes out. It's fine.
Absolutely what we do. So because I'm taking off to Montana tomorrow morning, and you're taking off to Vegas tomorrow morning,
Yes.
I figured we do something before we both left.
Yeah, which is a surprise because we had said we weren't going to do anything. So if they listen to the last episode, surprise.
Surprise! Exactly. Hey, you know what we'll do here? We'll just give this a little bit of... Oh, I don't know. There it is.
There we go. We're back.
That's our surprise note right there. It's like our all-encompassing anything we want to say because, you know, who doesn't love that sound?
Yeah, everybody loves that music.
Everybody loves that sound. So there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about yesterday that popped up into my head. Okay? And when you looked at the show notes, you said... Did you put that in tattoos?
Yeah, tattoos, right?
And I did.
Okay.
So I had this discussion a long time ago with my buddy, and it reminded me of actually because when you talked about tipping.
Oh, I had a tipping experience again, bro. Dutch bro strikes again, bro.
Dude, tipping's so stupid.
Dude, she turned the whole handle from me. So here, it's not required, but you can. How am I supposed to not? Like, you're making me uncomfortable. I did $1. I caved, bro.
You're
I
way
caved.
too nice.
Dude, I'm sorry. It was 5 a.m, bro. I'm like, dang it. You caught me at a bad moment, but a good moment for you.
For me, it has become so easy for me to just say, nope. And not even, I'll look at me in the eyes as I do that.
Man, you are mean.
Dude, they're working a minimum wage job, man. Okay?
I don't disagree with you. It's just,
right? You heard me go off on
I just wanted my sugar-free Golden Eagle iced, light ice. I wanted them to take care of me, and I just didn't want. Yeah, it was bad. It was this morning, and I regretted it immediately, and I thought about exactly what we talked about. So anyway, tattoos.
Okay, so tattoos. So I was talking to my buddy the other day. My thing about tattoos is I really don't care if anybody gets them. They're not for me. They never will be for me. And one of the reasons why they're not for me is because my mind changes all the time, right? I could never get something on my body that was permanent like that and not be like, oh, man, I should have changed that. I don't really like the way that looks. Because my buddy, he ended up getting like, I want to say like a beach scene or something on his arm, right? Because it was like an important part of his life.
Okay.
And I remember him telling me he was going to get it worked on because he didn't like the way it turned out. And I was like, see, this is why I could never do it. And I was telling my wife the same thing. I said, about the only thing that I think I could ever get tattooed onto my body, knowing that I would never regret it, is my kids' names.
Yep.
But even then, I would eventually be like, the font sucks. I put it in the wrong spot. I don't like it here. It's got to be over here. I don't want it under my arm. I want it, over here on my rib cage. It's always going to be something where I'm like, gosh, dang it, I put it in the wrong spot.
Then you just keep putting more and more. Just keep doing it over and over again.
Well, I guess that's why people end up looking that way, right?
I tell you, if I wasn't married to who I'm married to, I would be covered in tattoos, but she's not a fan of them. So marriage is about compromise. So like I'm allowed to have my arms done and that's about it. But the first one I got was about my kids. It has their initials. They're all 3 A's. So I have A's incorporated in what it is, but I'm the same way. So I totally understand. I'm not a big fan of I'm going to get this frog on my ankle that means nothing, right? Just to do it. No, for me, they have to mean things, and the 2 that I have mean something to me.
Okay, so I'm saying all that because the other day, so the one tattoo I always told myself I might be okay with would be a tattooed ring on my ring finger, right? Because the wedding ring that I bought when we got married, I don't wear it anymore because it's a titanium thing, and I had a buddy who almost got his finger ripped off from that ring.
Yeah. Okay. I wrecked on a motorcycle, and had I messed my left hand up and not my right hand, I would have lost my ring finger.
See?
That's why I don't wear one.
There we go. And see, I got these rubber ones.
Those like Qualo rings or something.
I don't even know what it's called. It's like
Amazon.
Amazon, right? Yeah. It's for a pack of 15, it's $5.
Perfect.
Right? But they stretch out, they fall off, I'll lose them, I'll forget them. So I was like, that'd be a nice thing to have. But I even told my wife this. I was like, but the thing about getting a tattoo, again, is it's something that you are stuck with. And I'm like, I love you to death. I love you more than I could ever imagine. But what if things didn't work out? That's why I said my kids are the only thing that I know I could always be like, nope, that's never changing. And I want, my wife knows this. We've had this conversation. I hope she's not upset that I'm broadcasting it to the world. But anyway, so the other day I'm at Chipotle and I'm ordering my salad. I'm walking through, I'm getting up to the cashier. The guy's asking me, all right, you're getting no guacamole. Okay. You're getting chicken. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. All right. This is your total. And I noticed he's got a tattooed ring on his finger.
So a ring or a name?
Ring.
Okay, so it's not a name. It's not.
But it's got a name in it, and it's got a date in it, right?
Okay.
But it's a ring.
Okay, so it's not just the name Mary or whatever.
No,
it's an actual ring.
It looks like an actual ring with like a little bit of an inscription thing. Like you never seen Lord of the Rings, but like the Lord of the Rings ring, right?
I don't understand, but okay.
Okay. But anyway, so I'm like, oh hey, your ring. Do you regret it? He goes, actually, yeah, I do. And I was like, why is that? She left me.
Oh shoot! Sorry, bro.
Dude, I felt so freaking bad.
Thanks for bringing it up. No guacamole extra for you, buddy.
Dude, I felt so bad because I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, hey, you know what? I get asked about it a lot. You know, I meant it when I did it, but you know, apparently she just wasn't in for the long haul. And I was like, hey, you just proved my point right there, dog.
Dude, no good deed goes unpunished there, buddy. Let me tell you.
I felt so bad for him because I'm like, there's other people in this line and they all just heard you got left and you've got this tattoo to remind you of it.
There is a theory, like people tell you it's a curse. If you tattoo your significant other on you, it's probably not going to work out. Like that's a thing. Like, yeah, like you hear about it, you can read about it. There's all these superstitions with it. And obviously it's got nothing to do with the tattoo, but they will tell you like, don't do it. And I would never. Nope.
Yeah, well, see that right there just solidified again my concern with tattoos. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to tell the story about the poor Chipotle guy who got embarrassed by me.
Dude, how you gonna make it? You make eye contact with him next time you go in and say, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?"
Dude, actually, the very next
time. Did you tip him? Tell me you tipped him.
No tips.
Come on, we're gonna embarrass him in front of everybody. At least you can do is throw him $1.
Hey, I'll say this: Chipotle didn't have that on their credit card touch screen. So good for you, Chipotle. I appreciate that. But anyway, yeah. So I did not tip him, and I wouldn't anyway because I am opposed.
I know, but you did embarrass him in front of the entire store.
The entire store.
$1 wouldn't have hurt.
And I think he was like the shift manager, so I'm sure everybody under him was like, "Oh, dude, you hear what just happened to that guy?" Yeah, so everybody's talking about it. Oh, I did feel bad for him. So if you wanted to say anything else, that's all that I wanted to say. So
I was curious what it meant by the note. I'm like, tattooing, like, where are we going with this? Because we touched on it a little bit before with tipping and tattoos and stuff. So I was curious. But
all right. Well, then the next thing that you wrote on here that you wanted to check about was gym etiquette. And I don't know. This is me coming in blind. I don't know what you're talking about there.
So I love the gym. The gym is my happy place. I will go many times a week. I would go multiple times a day if I could get away with it. One of the things that makes me really mad is when people put the wrong things in the wrong places.
Oh, yeah.
Or they don't put their crap away. They just leave the weights racked where they were at instead of re-racking them in the holders or the dumbbells back or whatever. Like it's their own personal thing. And furthermore, if you are somebody that is doing tricep extensions, back extensions, lat pull downs, and you let go of the weight and it slams down, I want to choke you. Like it takes everything in me to be like, okay, just breathe. It's not worth it. You don't work here, but I'm telling you, I want to get like, if it's that heavy where you have to let go freely and let it slam down, don't do it.
Yes.
It's not worth it.
Yes, dude.
You're not proving anything to anybody else. And all you're doing is shaking the whole thing. And I've a few times, luckily everybody wears headphones. I will say, bro, like with my hands up, like, come on, dude. Like, seriously, this is why we break. This is why we can't have nice things.
Yes.
Because you just slam it. And it's teenagers, right? These young kids with these wearing sandals, gym etiquette. Sandals do not belong in the gym. If you're a guy that wears Crocs or sandals to the gym, don't come anymore.
No open-toed shoes at the gym. That
dude.
is there are lots of things in life that you really don't think you need to say out loud. That is, when it comes to gym etiquette, to me, wear clothes and shoes. Those are like 1 and 2 of society. You can't go into a gas station, right? Dude. You go to the gym, dude. Don't be nasty. Nobody wants your athlete's foot.
You should have to have some kind of athletic shoe or some kind of closed-toe shoe on. When you walk in these Jesus sandals, they call them, and you're wearing socks with these sandals, like I almost hope you drop a weight on your foot. I just want to watch it happen. I want to watch you cry like a little baby so I can just laugh and point and take my phone out and videotape it because it makes me furious.
You broke your foot and you broke your toes because you're a freaking idiot.
Yeah. It just drives me nuts. I happened to see it. I was at the gym when it happened, and I'm like, anybody listening to all the, the 100 people that listen to us right now, it's growing.
It's growing,
It's growing really good. But if you do this, please stop. Like, it's not worth it. You know who I think Bowen. Bowen, do you do this? I'm just kidding, Bowen. Bowen's one of our best. He's one of our main listeners. He
dude.
Show,
we get text from him after every show.
Every show, I had to throw him a little shout out. I don't think Bowen drops the weights, but if you do, Bowen, I'll choke you.
So, okay, here's the thing though. Like, you say you love the gym. There is no place on planet Earth I detest in going to more than the gym, and it is for a myriad of reasons. Two of which you've already mentioned. I can't stand it when people don't put their crap away after they've used it. Listen, this is a public space. We are all here to use this. Yeah. Treat each other with respect. That drives me nuts. Okay? That one drives me nuts.
Yep.
Also, anytime you're about to go into a machine, I am a sweaty person. I'm a uber sweaty person. It is so gross to me to go on to any other machine when I see someone like me and I'm like, oh, that thing is drenched and they didn't bring a towel.
Well, most places they should have stuff like to spray and whatnot. Like, I'm an Uber sweater. I get that, especially in a good solid workout like leg day or something. But you gotta wipe your stuff down. If you're leaving trails of something, you need to be cleaning it up.
Okay, and then that's another thing that doesn't happen when we talk about the etiquette, and that grosses me out. This is the other thing. This is the other thing that absolutely kills me. The gym used to be a place to which you went to just simply better yourself and exercise and work out and do your thing and get out. It has become, probably within the last, and this is probably forever, but I'll say that I started noticing it after I got married. Probably because I'm with my wife now, and suddenly I feel like I just walked into like some sort of fashion show where everybody's flaunting everything they've possibly got, and I gotta go in there with a blindfold.
Bro, it's tough.
It's because listen to this, ladies, listen. I want you to hear me and understand me. Men are not as gross as you think we are. We are gross. I'm not saying that we're not.
Absolutely we are.
But we are not.
We are animals.
Yes, but we are not the creeps you believe we are to be. We are biologically wired to look.
100%.
No matter how much we try not to. This is something that I want every woman to understand. We try so hard not to. It is impossible for our eyes to not.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even think the trying's not even, it's just not possible. Like, maybe we want to not look, but dude, because, you can't, it doesn't matter.
No.
Dude. And then when they go and dude, the worst is when you're trying to do something on a bench area and then somebody walks up in clothes that are really meant for probably a swimming pool.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, you're going to do bent over rows in front of me.
Right in front of me.
And you're going to call me a creep for looking.
Yes.
Like, come on.
And you're going to turn around and look at me like, what are you looking at? Like, what are you doing?
What do you expect me to look at? Like, I'm a warm-blooded American male. Like, I can't just not. I'm wired that way. Like, it's not my fault.
Not only that, but it's like, what are you doing here? I'm not. Okay, this is not me saying that, this is the whole, argument about, the victim's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like,
right.
That's not my point. My point is listen, if you don't want to be looked at, don't dress like you want to be looked at.
Right.
Okay. And if I look, don't automatically assume I want to touch. That's not the case. Listen, no. I'm trying my best here. I am a monogamous man. I love my wife dearly with all that I've got. But if I'm in that position, I can't stop my eyes from going that direction.
You just can't get mad at us for looking.
Yes!
Like, you can't. Like, it's just not right. It's almost not fair. It's like a setup. It's like, look, you knew what you were doing when you walked in here wearing you got to think, there's no way that you thought, okay, I'm going to put this on and no guy's going to look at me. And if he does, he's a creep.
Exactly.
No, that is not how this works. You knew exactly what you were doing because not all women dress like that. So they all know the ones that are there for business to actually go there to work out. They don't dress like we're talking about. There's a fine line, but it gets crossed a lot.
And that's one of the reasons why I hate it. But I wanted to hit on the point where you just said, like, listen, if you're wearing this, you are doing it with a purpose. Using this we're going to go like flashback to, let's see, what is 2024? Flashback 6 years. Okay. It's 2018. You consciously make the decision to put a red baseball hat on. Guess what? Immediately everyone's going to assume, true or not, they're going to assume you're all MAGA. You're 100% Make America Great Again. It's like, listen, that is the situation you put yourself in. If you don't believe that, if you don't espouse those beliefs, guess what? You don't have control over that. It's the same thing with the girl. If you're going to wear clothes that are so freaking revealing and tight that you can't, there's nothing left to the imagination, you cannot be upset when someone makes an assumption and looks, because you put yourself in that position. Just as if you were to put that red baseball cap on, if that's not what your position is or your belief is or you want people to assume, don't do it.
No. And this goes for men too, bro. How many, lately there's been a trend of men walking in what look like women's yoga shorts.
Yes.
Like they're trying to prove a point for something.
It's like when you walked in on here to
Yes. Yeah. So when I walked past the window, I see Eric in here, and Eric is very good with colors. For those who don't know Pug, he loves bright colors and he loves the rainbow.
I was going to say that. That was a part that I was going to make point.
Yes.
Listen,
love it.
I love the rainbow. The thing that drives me so crazy is that if I ever put a rainbow on anything, it's immediately believed that this is my stance in, my social beliefs. I truly don't have any negative feelings towards anybody that is gay, lesbian. I don't care. I don't care. I want you to live your life and I want you to be happy. Just because I personally don't, what is the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't have those beliefs for my own life. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I hate somebody that lives that way. That's fine. I believe that everybody should be able to live their life as harmless as possible, as long as you're not harming others. But the reason why I don't wear a flag or a rainbow everything is because of what I just said. I don't get to control what other people think that I'm saying when I wear that. I don't get to control.
You just want to wear the rainbow.
I just want to.
Now, mind you, he is wearing bright pink shoes right now and bright pink shorts that match. And they looked shorter when I walked by. When I walked by the window,
Jason
I was
totally thought I was walking.
Those Richard Simmons shorts, bro. Like, where'd you get those things, dude? Like, I walked in and the first thing I did was look to see how long they were. I'm like, okay, they're fine.
But the thing is guess what? I am in my own home, right? And all this comes back to me saying this is the reason why I hate going to the gym and why I have this area dedicated to my home for my gym, because I can't go there.
It's so fun to watch. It's like a front row seat to the best show on earth. Sometimes you see these people doing some stuff with their unorthodox workout stuff, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, that is too heavy a weight for you, dude. Like, you're not proving it. You're not doing anything right. Like, you're swinging that. Like, that's not working. But that's part of the reason I enjoy the gym, is because I love just to make fun of people about it.
Watching.
Oh yeah, and then you go to the same gym long enough, you start to beat the same people. And I have a few friends that I go to the gym. I don't even know their names. I don't. I think I've introduced myself a few times to each other, and I don't know them. But dude, you see him when we're talking. I'm like, dude, can you see this guy right here? Or the grunting. Hey, can we talk about grunting real quick in the gym? If you are somebody that grunts abnormally loud, where I have headphones on and I can hear you, you're faking it, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that your 30-pound dumbbell press is making you grunt that hard.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's so annoying. It drives me nuts.
All of these things.
But I love it. But see, this is why I want to go, because it fuels my fire to lift weights, dude.
See, and all these things you're mentioning, and that's why I do all of this in this room. That's why. Hey, also wanted to let you know. I'm not sure if you noticed a little something different in this room since you called me out last time. Huh?
The weights moved?
No. Where are those shoes at? Where are those shoes? My leg? Yeah. My weightlifting shoes, they moved because guess what? I used them. I did.
See, motivating you, buddy. That's all I know. All it takes is a little push.
So I'm not joking when I say that is the one reason I used them today. I wore them because I was wearing regular shoes and I was like, all right, these will be fine. And then I get, I've got the squat on, got it on my shoulders. I get up in the mirror and I'm looking at the shoes I'm wearing, which are my treadmill shoes. And then I see the other shoes behind me, like, nope. Re-racked it, took the shoes off, put the new ones on. I'm like, Jason will know.
Now he'll know. See, you're welcome, Eric. You're welcome.
Hey, that's the motivation that I needed.
Whatever it takes. I'm here for you, buddy.
All right, man. So the one thing that you kind of, when you walked in here before we hit the record button, you said you really want to talk about this. I feel like it's a pretty sensitive subject, but I also think that you got very valid points, that most of which I think I agree with all of them. But I'm going to let you take the point on this one. So if there is any blowback, it's all on you.
Which one are we talking about? We talked about two different things. Not the fake eyelash thing, right? It's the other thing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's that thing.
Oh, it's that thing.
Oh, what was the other thing?
Well,
you know what? How about we just fake eyelash thing?
Okay. Yeah. So Pug didn't want to say too much, but I think it's worth talking about, because there's a fine line with the plastic surgery right now is getting out of control. And this is from a man's point of view. I can't speak to other women, but most men, I think, will agree with me when I can say that there have not been any males I've ever been a part of any kind of conversation with, known, talked to, read about, that said, man, she was hot, but only if she had bigger eyelashes.
If only that lip filler was a little bit more.
Right. If only she just, the only thing I think we can agree on, that we don't care whether it's good or you have them or not, is a boob job.
Absolutely.
That's the only plastic surgery that a guy is looking at, and that's because, like you talked about, we're wired to see
we
it.
are wired.
We pay attention. We don't need it, but if we're not going to say don't.
We're not going to say no. But that's also one that I look at and say that one for 99% of women is completely out of their control. Once you have children, guess what? That you didn't do. Yeah. That's not because you didn't take care of yourself or because you wanted to look unnatural like that. That's so I put that and I separate it, and
I absolutely
it's not the
agree.
same. But you're 100% right about this. I've never looked at a girl's cheekbones and been like, you know what? Those need to be sharper.
Yeah, that nose bridge could be. We just don't pay attention to that. We don't at all. You know who they do it for? Other women.
Other women.
That's exactly what this is for. And if you disagree, please comment about this, because it's why else. Like, and maybe it's a self-conscious thing, but don't do it for us.
Or if you know a guy that has specifically said something other than what we have said, we have lots of various male group friends.
Yeah.
All over the spectrum.
All over, yeah.
Right? Our entire lives. It has never, ever been a conversation that I've been a part of to which a guy said, yeah, you know what she needed? Yeah, she needed a little bit more of that. That she didn't have eyelashes that were long enough. You know what? Her lips were just too small. I've never heard that in my life.
No.
In fact, I have heard the exact opposite. The exact opposite of like, dude, I don't know, man. That was out of control. Those lips looked like they had been stung by a bee and were about to explode.
Yeah. If you smile and your face doesn't move, you're doing that for yourself.
Speaking of which, so Shalay and I were watching Night Agent last night, right?
Phenomenal.
This is a good example of when they go and meet the FBI director's wife. I turn to Shalay, I'm like, how is she moving her face?
Dude, they don't.
Because it was one of those things where I'm like, I rarely will notice anything like that. To me, I was like, that is obvious. Lots of work has been done on that woman's face, and it is to the point where it's like, how is she showing any emotion? Because she's not.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with filtering now with all with selfies.
Yeah, maybe.
Because everybody can change their face to make it look what they would call perfect, right? So now they have this aspiration to say, hey, I want to look like this. So I want to, and it doesn't matter. You pay for it. They'll do it. If you build it, they'll come. If you want to pay for it, somebody will put it on you. And it doesn't mean it's right for you.
No.
It doesn't mean they care, but they're like, sure, you want caterpillars for eyelashes? Totally fine. Like, whatever. Yeah, I'll do it for you. But again, I don't know a guy that has ever said it.
But this goes along the lines of what you had said you wanted to talk about, and that is becoming, cheerleaders versus bashers. And that's where I wanted you. I thought that's what you meant, but to me, it's all encompassing. It's all the same.
It's all the same.
So I'm going to let you go ahead and make that point.
So this is where something I've noticed I've got 3 daughters, so I mean this like this isn't a sexist remark, but I feel like women as of late or I've noticed that they are their biggest supporters in public, but they will run each other over to get ahead. Like, it is crazy. I've seen it personally throughout my life where you're like, I don't understand like how. It always seems like it's a position game or something where it doesn't matter. Yeah, in public we're like, yay, this is women's rights or this, but at the end of the day, I'm going to stab whoever I can in the back to get ahead of them right now because this is a bug eat bug world, and it's weird to me because I'm sure men are like that. I just don't. It just doesn't feel like it's out there as like openly about it, or like they're just like no, like because you see all these. We can't have a men's rights march, right? So you see all these things, and it's phenomenal. Like I said, I got 3 daughters. I want nothing more than equality for women. But at the same time, it's like, why are you're your biggest supporters sometimes, and then you see something.
Are also your biggest detractors.
Yeah, and it's because they're all just trying to get ahead, it seems like.
But the thing that's hard for me, it's hard for me to have this, like a strong opinion on it. One, because my daughters are very young. Right? They're very young. I notice it on the outside. The example I'll use, because this woman has been all over the news in some of the stupidest possible ways. Taylor Swift, right? When she was getting big, there was obviously the Swifties, girls that absolutely loved it, and then there were the others that were like, oh, she's fake, she's terrible, absolutely picking her apart instead of just letting her be. Like, listen, her music's not for you? Cool, just don't let it be for you.
Yeah, she's a powerful, strong woman who's making her way. Like, let her be. Like, support her.
She's doing her thing, right?
Right.
So, and I'm trying to like figure out the best way to equate it, and I'm like, okay, the only way that I can really look at it and say this is the way men do the same thing is we do it with each other's sports teams.
Well,
so
it's true.
I mean,
we belittle each other's sports teams pretty bad. We did that episode 1.
Like, we absolutely bad. I mean, this is something like I was listening to you know who Larry David is?
No,
the guy
I do.
He was one of the main writers of Seinfeld, the TV show. Him and Jerry Seinfeld.
Never saw.
Well, yeah, but you know who Seinfeld is, right?
Okay.
He and Jerry Seinfeld, tight friends. Larry David has his own show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. He was on a podcast with Bill Simmons, and he was talking about one of the reasons why he can never do a sports podcast is he hates ragging on other people. He hates tearing somebody else down because of what they may not be able to do on the stage, whatever. And he's like, listen, I'll listen to it. I'll watch the shows, but I can't be the one to sit there and say, oh man, Dak Prescott, you're never going to do it. You suck.
You can't be Stephen A. Smith and just destroy people
and just
like that.
Absolutely blast somebody.
And get paid $10 million a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's his thing. And so like, I'm looking and saying, okay, you know what? If I were to think about how would I relate this to me when it comes to why does it seem like women really do drag each other down while also in a way try and build everybody up, because it does feel that way where it's like, okay, yeah, as long as we're all going the same direction, it's like the idea of like crabs in a bucket. You don't ever have to worry as long as there are like more than one crab in a bucket, you don't ever have to worry about it getting out, because they'll always drag each other right back down to the bottom. Okay.
Okay.
And it's that same kind of feeling. Like, hey, listen, as long as we're all going up, that's just fine. But the minute somebody gets further than me, nope, bringing them right back down, pulling them back down.
Yeah.
And so like my thing is like I look at it and say maybe it's like the way I feel about the freaking Bills. You got Josh Allen, man. We got freaking Josh Rosen. How did you do that? Like 3 picks later, we get. So I'm like, but I also look at. I'm like, but I'm happy for the Bills in that regard. Like I don't hate them for it. Like, I mean, yeah, I hate the Cowboys, but truthfully, the only reason why I hate the Cowboys is because, like we talked about in episode 1, I grew up here in Arizona where it was embarrassing to be a Cardinals fan, and because the Cowboys were successful, everybody was a Cowboys fan. I'm like, come on, man. Root for the home team.
And there were you guys that weren't. That's really it. It was the other half, right? The half of it, everybody jumped right in.
There was not half.
Well, it was the other side of it. Was you had everybody else that wasn't a fan, hated them. There's no in between.
So it's like, I don't know, man. It is one of those things where I do wonder what the sociology, I'm saying sociology, that's not the word I want to say, but yeah, I wonder what the science behind that is. And if it's perceptual, clearly just a perception that we have, or if it's actually a real thing, like it's actual real sociological problem. That's the word I was trying to say. Or if it's just our perception because of the things that we hear and the stuff that's yelled at and screamed at on our 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah, probably. And it could be, and maybe we bring our wives or we get somebody on this show and have their perspective of this, because it's just an interesting thing. And I've seen it myself where you're just kind of like, why would you do that to her? Like, you guys are supposed to be like fighting for each other, and you watch it happen and you're just like, this is not good. Like, I don't think, and I'm sure we do it, men do it, but it's just maybe not as amplified, or maybe it's just, I don't know. We just don't see it because we're jaded by it, but it's just interesting that it keeps, I don't know. It is just something it's not meant. And again, we're not trying to offend anybody here with this. This is just a perception, right? And perception's reality for people. So it's just that one of the things that I've noticed. And you're just, and again, I'm a father of 3 girls. Like, the last thing I want is
don't want them to deal with that.
I don't want them to deal with it. I don't want them to be a part of them cutting other women down. Support each other. Yeah. Lift each other up. Do whatever you're going to do for whatever you want. But don't, and especially in their little 3, right? Don't drag each other down. Don't get sucked into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it doesn't matter if society's doing that or you see a business doing that. No. You 3 should be each other's biggest supporters. Yeah. And no matter what, right? You should be each other's biggest fans. And if you're not, that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah. No, and that's something that we've been working hard to be able to get to the point where we can get more than just the 2 of us talking on here, specifically our wives. We really do want our wives to come on probably at least once a month to be able to have a little thing we'll do with them. But guys, crab's expensive. Equipment is expensive.
It is. It definitely
so it's taking some time to get to that point. But when we get them, I'm not going to delete that off of our show list, because I do want to have that conversation with them. I'd be very interested to hear what they have to say about it.
Yeah, especially now that, like, so my wife for a long time was a stay-at-home mom. 14 years she was just staying at home taking care of our kids, and we were very fortunate for that. But now she's in the workforce, so I'm curious, like, what she sees in her work, if she could agree or disagree with this, right? Your wife the same, right? She has her own perception of how things have been for her. So I'm just curious if it's just a perception on our end, it's a misconception and we're wrong, which they would love to tell us we're wrong.
And they won't hesitate to do so.
They won't hesitate at all.
Bless them for it.
Even if we're right, they ain't going to tell us those the problem, right? They ain't going to say you're right.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to go ahead and put a little asterisk right there to say, let's come back to that one and talk about that with the women. But since we're already down these sensitive lanes, I'm gonna stick in this lane. Do you remember a while ago? I'm gonna say, and you should remember. I think you would remember this. This was back like probably 2011, 2012 or whatever, when there was a whole bunch of like social protests happening in the NBA, and it was about
the lockouts and stuff.
No. It was about Trayvon Martin, when Trayvon Martin was shot in Miami, right? And he
was the one with the hoodie.
Yeah. the hoodie, right? And so there's a whole bunch of social protests happening in the NBA. NBA players protesting, doing their thing. I don't want to get into that. The point I wanted to make was when that was happening, it was all over the news where there would be news commentators that would say the phrase "shut up and dribble," right?
Yeah.
This isn't your thing. You're a basketball player. That's all you're supposed to be doing. That's what made you famous. You go and do that. Okay. And there was a whole bunch of backlash to that, being like, hey, you know, these are human beings too. They're allowed to have an opinion. And if they have a platform, they're allowed to share that opinion. It's up to you whether or not you want to listen to that opinion.
Right.
Right. Like we talked about last time. If you don't like it, shut it off. It's not
turn the channel.
Turn the channel. Right.
Yep.
This last week has gotten out freaking rageous about Taylor Swift and the Super Bowl. It is like the things that I have heard on some news networks about how this is a whole planned conspiracy for Joe Biden
me so mad
to be able to get I don't care about her politics whatsoever. You want to tell me the last time that celebrity swung a vote. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's just the news trying to make it a thing.
Yes.
They're just grabbing at straws for stories, and it makes me so mad.
So the thing that I wanted to ask was the things that I have heard, the monologues being given regarding Taylor Swift and sports fans, right? And how sports fans are, this is what they believe, and it's leading down these bad roads, blah, blah, blah. Shut up and dribble versus stay in your lane. Listen, if you're a political news station, stick to the politics. Yeah. I'm not going to get mad at you. If that's your political opinion, that's your political opinion. But don't be saying something so outlandishly stupid about how if we sports fans took care of our sports as much as we took care of Jesus in our lives, how we would be a better nation. When I heard that, my thing was like, do you realize the part of our country that is most sports obsessed is also the most religious? The South kills for football.
Right.
And let me tell you what, every person there believes in Jesus, and they all go to church on Sundays.
Yes, they do.
Right? So it's like, why is that different? Why are they allowed to go and say something so moronic and stupid on their news station about, the way that sports in our culture is ruining whatever, versus somebody else is allowed to have their own opinion that is a sports figure in a political realm? It's like, listen, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Either you're going to allow the sports figures to have their political opinions and talk about them,
right,
or you're not, which means you need to stay out of the sports realm and stop talking about those as well.
So I have I don't know, like for you talking about opinions, right? With this, I think there are certain places where you can't have an opinion, but you have one and you want to voice it, but I don't think you can, right? Because your influence, a lot of people speak out of turn. I think when these certain people in, like, let's just say the NBA, when they speak out publicly about certain things, they only look at it one-sided. They don't see it from all angles. It's like you can't have an opinion based on because all they're getting is new stuff. It's not like they have a tie into some investigation or some political thing where they know ahead of the game what's going on. So it works the same with, you look at like law enforcement. They can't have an opinion, right? I got plenty of friends in law enforcement. You can't have an opinion. You're not right, you're not left, you're neutral. And it's how it should be. You represent something bigger than yourself. That's the way I feel that sports is. Once we start interjecting their opinions and what their views are, you're taken away from what we're here for. I'm here to watch you play football. I don't care if you vote left, right, middle, green, whatever. Just play football or play basketball. And I think we've gotten so far off. And now the Taylor Swift thing, where it's like, oh, she's
just dating a guy. And she's dating a guy.
She's been dating him for a long time. I just read that they quietly date for a long time before she publicly came to a game. And even she was like, you think I'd just show up on our first date to a game where everybody's going to... No, they've got to... Can we just leave it as them dating? But again, it's people tearing everybody down, right? They want to go negative, and everything's so negative. But I have a hard time with... I'm a big freedom of speech person. I think you should be able to say whatever you want to say, unless you shouldn't say it, right? But in certain places, but with sports athletes and law enforcement, there's just certain things where you just need to keep your mouth shut. And it sucks, but guess what? You chose that. You chose to do that job. And when you became a basketball player, your platform is basketball. You want to talk about the greatest shoe for basketball? Talk all day. But you should not be out there advocating for one president or another when you really, or one senator or one governor. You don't know really anything. Most of these guys don't. There are a few that are really educated, but most of them are just playing ball.
See, that's where I push back, because I think those guys probably know more about it than I do.
I don't know.
I think so.
It's not to say they're dumb. I just like how involved are they? Just because they're bloody rich, they don't pay attention to the real struggles of the middle class. They don't really know what's going on.
I would say it certainly depends because, I mean, obviously everybody comes from a different background.
Correct.
Right? Everybody's got a different... This is the thing. I don't want to say that people can't speak their minds. I guess the thing that I wanted to say is it drives me nuts how if... Let's say, for example, that Taylor Swift had come out and... I hate that we're talking so much about Taylor Swift.
Like every week we bring her
I know, dude. She's I'm going to start calling her Thanos. That's it from now on. Okay?
I'm telling you.
So Thanos, right now, if she had come out and said something along the lines that wasn't overtly one way or the other politically, but something that sounded much more of a conservative bent, right? It sounded like that's the way that she was leaning. Those new networks that were railing on her would be propping her up and saying she's the greatest thing ever. When she has not said anything one way or the other, right? She has she is literally just showing up to her boyfriend's football games. That is all that she has done.
Yeah, she's watching football.
She is watching football, right? Like the vast majority of sports loving Americans are doing, right? And yet somehow news networks are taking that and running in a direction where it's like, why would you come up with this idea? Like, listen, if you just didn't talk about it, nobody would have any belief one way or the other or think that she had any influence over you. Like, you're turning this into something that it doesn't need to be. The thing that I'm saying is, why is it okay for those guys to say something so outlandishly stupid that makes no sense and has nothing to do with their everyday life of what they do when it comes to reporting on goings on in the White House or the war in the Middle East or the war in Ukraine? Those are the things that they're involved in all the time. That's information that I go to them for because I'm not into it all the time. Yet somebody will say, I'm going to say LeBron James because he's probably been one of the most socially out there guys when it comes to anything that happens in the cultural aspect of Black Lives Matter or Trayvon Martin. Social injustice, anything. He's been one that's not been quiet about it. He's not been afraid to speak his mind and say what he wants. He is killed for saying it by Laura Ingrams, the person that I specifically think of on Fox News who said, shut up and dribble. He gets absolutely lambasted for it. But yet she's allowed to say something ridiculous about on the sports. And it's like, how many games have you watched? Have you ever watched a basketball game?
No.
And yet you're allowed to have an opinion on it. He's not allowed to have an opinion. Guess what? He votes. You don't watch his basketball games. He votes. So why is it that he's not allowed to have an opinion? And listen, if you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to it.
Right. No, I agree.
I guess we're probably just going to talk in circles on that. It just drives me nuts where it's like we have these two separate set of standards. And because one person is on a TV show, they're allowed to say whatever they want. But because this other person's also on a TV show, but it's on a talk show, it's a sports broadcast, but it's a TV show, they're not allowed to say anything outside of that.
At the end of the day, it's all about divide.
Yes!
That's the truth. We're not about bringing people together in this country right now. We're about dividing and whatever they can do to divide everybody. And it's terrible.
You know what? They got me. Jason, you're right. They got me. They got me divided, man. They got me all riled up.
That's what it is. It's all about divide. It's just what they're trying, what everybody's trying to do on that in that aspect. It isn't one side or the other. It's both. It's become them versus everybody else. How much can we divide everybody? Is what it's become, and it's kind of sad.
And that's something that I am super susceptible to getting all riled up about things like that. I really am. Like that's one of the things where I know that about myself, and I need to work harder on not letting it drive me crazy. But it absolutely does. Now, on to something that I've heard a lot of talk about. There's two, I would say, very successful sports figures from the last NFL season that are getting a lot of hate right now after having very successful seasons, okay? How much are you buying into all the Brock Purdy slander?
I don't understand the slander. Like, why are they hating so bad?
Well, I don't know.
You know, what's funny is I saw a thing with him saying somebody had asked him if he was excited to see Taylor Swift or something, and he was like, "Yeah, because with my yearly salary, I can't afford a ticket to her Eras tour, so it'll be cool to see her, whatever." But no, I don't. Again, it's just about hate. They're just trying to buy one way or another, and maybe they're trying to do psychological things to him, like get into his head, because they watch the news, they watch these Sports Center shows, and you can't help but when you're walking by something and you hear like Stephen A. Smith going off, right? Like honestly, one of the most dude. Okay, Dak Prescott is not clutch at all. But he is taking a beating right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, the guy is doing what he can do. Like, he's trying. He's not being good. And I'm the first to admit it.
Dude, he was a 4th round draft pick. He was no one ever said Dak Prescott's going to be the guy for the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody ever did. The fact that he is where he is a massive, testament to his drive and skill. His ability to say, you know what, I'm going to overcome because nobody ever believed me I could.
If Dak Prescott played for the Cleveland Browns and played the way he does and had the record he does,
Cleveland's savior.
He would be Cleveland's savior. But he just went to the hardest team because every year they're in the spotlight. Even when they had they had Barber running the ball and they had Rocket Ishmael back in the day, Quincy Carter throwing him the ball. I mean, we could go on, and they were always in the spotlight, always on TV. So I feel bad for him. But you talk about slander, like Brock Purdy's just getting it because hate's going to hate, dude. They're trying to get in his head.
The thing that kills me about it is when I hear people like try and talk about how he's not good enough, blah blah blah. The thing that I want to say this, I want to make it very clear. If the 49ers could do any better than Brock Purdy, they would have tried.
Yeah,
they would have tried. So the fact that they couldn't do better than Brock Purdy. Now, I want to remind everybody, they took a quarterback with the number 3 overall draft pick and traded a ridiculous amount of draft capital to get that number 3 overall pick. And guess what? That number 3 overall pick is the backup on the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
And he didn't even sniff a snap this year.
Nothing.
And it's not to say that Trey Lance sucks. Physically, the guy's got the tools.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, the difference when it comes to a good quarterback and a great quarterback and a no quarterback is the brain. Brock Purdy may not have every single physical skill out there that we look at when it comes to a combine evaluation. But the one thing that
neither did Tom Brady.
But at least Tom Brady had the frame, right? He was tall. Brock Purdy's not. And people are always talking about how he's not good enough. He's not going to listen. The 49ers. He's holding the 49ers back. Last thing I checked, they're in the Super Bowl. And if they lose the Super Bowl, it won't be because Brock Purdy wasn't good enough.
No, not at all. And I think he's 3-1 in his last 4 playoff games.
And the one he tore his UCL and had to come out after the first game.
And that's why Philly was able to beat them pretty handily because I think they had Gardner Minshew.
No, they didn't have anybody. They had freaking Christian McCaffrey taking snaps.
Even worse.
He was a running back.
Yeah, I was thinking
the quarterback.
No, you're right. I was thinking of somebody else. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you can't blame. He's pretty phenomenal, and he beat some pretty good teams to get there. And he did. We watched the last game live. You guys all heard it here. He's scrambling. He's doing what he can. He's playing, and he's getting paid $800,000 a year. And these other Dak Prescott's making, I don't know, 40.
Yes. Okay, so here are the people that Brock Purdy had to beat out to get the position he is right now. He had to beat out, again, Trey Lance, the number 3 overall draft pick, with all of the physical tools you could ever want a quarterback to have. Size, speed, strong arm, agility. He had it all, right? He didn't beat Brock Purdy out for the job. Brock Purdy beat him out for the job. Okay, next person, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, was he the number 2 or 3 overall draft pick?
When he was first drafted,
Yeah, by the New York Jets.
Yep.
Okay, so that guy, again, if you're the number 3 overall draft pick, you've got all the physical tools and all the evaluation said this guy's a can't-miss prospect. We're going to pay him millions of dollars to save our franchise. And guess what? Sam Darnold did not do that. He did not do it for the Jets. He didn't do it for the Panthers. He's not doing it for the 49ers. He's the backup. Brock Purdy beat him out, okay? The other person, Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo got them. Did he get them to the Super Bowl? Yeah, he got them to... No, I can't remember if he got him to the Super Bowl. I know he got him deep into the playoffs, okay? He didn't win a championship. Everybody thought Jimmy Garoppolo's the guy. He's going to make it happen for him. He didn't. Brock Purdy got them all the way to the Super Bowl. I don't care what anybody says about him. Yes, the 49ers probably have the deepest roster in the NFL. I think I could probably say that with some confidence. Yeah. I will say that with some confidence, not probably. And if they don't win it, it's not because Brock Purdy is holding that team back. It's probably because he's going up against this generation's GOAT, might possibly be the GOAT overall once it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And it goes against a coach who's, again, like undefeated after the bye week. So, Andy Reid knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. And Brock is playing out of his mind.
He is.
And I'm not a 49er fan at all. I don't. He's a local kid, and it's great, but you got to give credit where credit's due.
Yes.
He is, and for them to keep slandering him, and again, I think it's all just to get into his head, to try to think, oh, I got to go out and prove something now. And he should just sit back and be like, no, I'm going to play football.
It just kills me because this guy, and I'm not rooting. It's divide. I'm not rooting for him because he's local. We've had enough local pro athletes that I'm like, I don't give a crap. We're a huge city. It's not like if the kid was from Show Low and you were from Show Low, that'd be totally different.
Right.
Okay. The guy's from the Phoenix metro area. There's 5 million people that live here. Yeah, it's cool, whatever. But the fact is, this kid went to a high school, did not get recruited by either home university, major university. Okay. Nope. Herm Edwards can say whatever the heck he wants. Have you heard that he claimed he did recruit him? He didn't recruit him. In fact, the lead recruiter kept saying, why are we not offering this guy a scholarship? He needs to be here. Never did it. Gave him a preferred walk-on status. Okay. So Brock Purdy, being a smart guy, says, I'm not going to go and walk on there when I can be the starting quarterback at Iowa State.
Right.
He goes to Iowa State, wins a crazy amount of games at Iowa State, the Cyclones. Okay. This is not a major university that people have set their heart on going to. It was a fallback plan for Brock Purdy. He goes there, wins a ton. Nobody pays attention to him. Nobody thinks he's any good. He is the last pick in the NFL draft, right? Number 262 people or 261 people went before him. And this guy beat out everybody on the roster to be the starting quarterback, and now he's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like he's earned it. He has legitimately earned the right to do so.
Yes, and yeah. I all the slander on him it's absolutely killing me, and it's one of those things where I can't stand that. And the other one I was going to say, the other slander out there that's killing me is the Dan Campbell hate.
He's just under a hard time right now because he made some bad decisions. He was too aggressive, and I think that's all the hate is.
Okay. I got my hand. You guys can't see this. My hand is raised.
Yes, Pug, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. You can, whatever you say about Dan Campbell, you need to shut your mouth because you never, ever, 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 ever sniffed an NFC championship game until he came and took your team there. He is as responsible for the success of the Lions as every player on that field.
100% agree with you.
And he got you there by being uber ultra aggressive.
Right.
So when he is uber ultra aggressive and it backfires and you lose a 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game, again, to the deepest team in the NFL, you can't turn around and then hate the man for it.
Well, it's the same theory of you got to bet big to win big. Right, that's what they tell you. You can't just go in and play penny slots and think you're going to get rich. Yeah. You got to bet big to win big, and I get it. And that'll all die off after a few weeks. The Super Bowl will come and they'll realize how good it is. It just hurts because most people and Dan Campbell at this stage, when you're playing the 49ers, we talked about this. You're not playing some Packer team with Jordan Love as a young guy. Like, we'll be okay. You've got to play points. Points is what wins games. If you don't score more, you don't. So if they had two different chances, they could have took a field goal. That's 6 more points. They would have won the game. You know what I mean? So it's hard to sit back.
We say that they would have won the game. We are assuming the kicker makes those field goals, right?
Correct. It's a big assumption, and maybe he knew that. Hey, that we know he can't make a 47-yarder outside. We know he can't do it. But you're in the NFL. If you can't make a 47-yard field goal, you're a punter. You know what I'm saying?
Say that. How often do you see a 38-year-old? I mean, how many guys miss an extra point? That's a 35.
They do, and that's fine. But you get paid for that money. I mean, you get paid. That is your job.
Hey, I am not disagreeing. Going back to that Larry David thing, right? So Larry David says, why do we have kickers in football? They should not exist. It makes no sense. It has nothing to do with the game. Suddenly, we're going to stop playing the game to kick. What does it have to do? That doesn't make any sense. His whole thing is like, abolish kickers. I don't want it. No, I don't want it at all.
Just make it be 7 points.
You can keep a punter. Okay, so if you're at, let's say their 45-yard line on 4th down. Okay, yeah, we can punt them and pin them back deep, but no kicking. There is no kicking.
So you just go for it on 4th down.
You're going for it on 4th down. You're playing for 4 downs every time.
That's interesting.
I think the XFL or the UFL, the United Football League, I think they should do that. I would actually very much like to see what that looks like in reality. Because kicking is one of those things where it drives you. If you have an iffy kicker, tell me that there's nothing more nerve-wracking than when the game is on the line, your kicker's coming out.
Oh, I'm sure, absolutely. Well, how would you end a game? Like, think about it. If it's a tie game, let's just say it's 7-7, and but now it's tied, and then you got to play. You can't, if you have no kicking, the 3-point, like you got a chip shot field goal to win the game.
Hail Mary.
You'd have so many more ties. Just what would happen. And ties are like kissing your sister. Like nobody wins a tie.
Everybody loses in that scenario. I've never understood that phrase. Nobody wins. It's a loss.
That's what I'm saying. That's what a tie is. It's a loss.
But yeah, it's a loss. Everybody says. I remember the first time in junior high we had a tied football game, and my coach said, guys, it's a tie. It's like kissing your sister. Nobody wins. And I was like. Dude, that's a loss.
Yeah,
everybody loses. Yeah, that's disgusting.
That's what I'm talking about.
How does that phrase even make any sense?
Because it's both loser. He just told it to you wrong. It's because we both lose.
Right. But I'm looking at that. Okay, eliminate ties. This isn't soccer.
The game would never end, bro. Some of these games
would.
Dude, you get the Browns playing like, I don't know, the Bengals. Well, the Bengals are good now, so you have to find another terrible team. But or the Browns and the Jets playing, bro, that game ain't never ending.
I'm just saying.
It's going to become the new baseball. Tired, sleeping through this crap.
Dude, don't be knocking baseball. We're making progress.
There's no pitch clock. What are they going to do? I don't know how there's no pitch clock.
I'm just saying that I'm thinking it would be awesome. But that's not the point I'm making. The whole point I'm trying to make is that, you know what, Dan Campbell, good on you, dude.
Yeah.
It is because of you that Detroit actually has something to talk about when it comes to their football team. They haven't had that in, I would say, almost in our lifetime. They haven't won a playoff game since like 92.
Yeah, it's been nuts.
So you know what? All you guys out there that are hating on Dan Campbell, just remember where you were at before he came around.
And to his credit, he's owned it all. He knows it's his fault. Like, he knows he was gambled, and he gets it. But again, you've got to know, dude. At that point, you like I said, you either win big or you're going to lose big, and he just was on the other end. And in a game where you're playing for a Super Bowl bid and you're playing against the number one team in the league, let's just face it. You got to play smarter, and that is not a smart move. That's a gamble.
Yeah, I guess
it is not, again, not a bad. It's not wrong. It's just that's what happens.
It is a gamble. You're taking a risk.
When you take that risk and it fails, all this hate, all this feeling he has, and everybody hating on him. You got to just embrace the suck and be like, yep, you know what? Like, I earned it. It didn't work. But I see, now on the flip side, had he did it and he won, they would be praising him.
That's the other thing.
And that's the crappy part about sports, dude. It's just that's a head coach job. That's a head.
You're right.
You what's that old thing? You either die a villain or a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain, right?
Hey, good pull, man. Dark Knight. That's a good pull right there. Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
But that's what really makes me angry about it, though. Really, it's because it's like nobody was hating on him. Nobody even hated on when it failed against the Cowboys. They blamed the Cowboys like that should have been a win. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, listen, this is what
allegedly.
You know it. This is what Dan Campbell does. Okay, because he does this, his players play hard for him. Because he does this, the team loves him, and because he does this is how far he got you. Will you ever get back to this point? I don't know, because football and sports in general are freaking hard.
It'll take aggression and aggressive play calling, but again, I think you put him in the same playoff next year. I think he takes the points and says, hey, you know what? I've been here before. I know what it's like. And all I got to do is get Jared Goff to scramble, and he ain't going to throw accurately.
No, you're right. I said that, and I stand by it. If you get Jared Goff off his spot, he is less than mediocre.
Who's your two guys coming off the edge? They're going to get him. Like, the odds of him getting him out of his pocket are pretty high.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I respect his playmaking. I respect the decision. I just didn't.
I just really hate when people like it was all love for Dan Campbell, all love all the way up until when the final whistle blew, and suddenly it's like, this guy freaking
He's the villain, bro. He's the villain.
Yeah, I just hate that. Because honestly, dude, I would freaking kill for Dan Campbell. I would love that guy to be our coach. Not to say that I don't like our coach now. I think he might be the right guy. I'm not going to go definitively say it. We just had a 3-win season, so I'm not going to pretend like
quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like it's it's all sunshine and rainbows. I love rainbows. Oh, sunshine and rainbows over here. but
you do. The guy wears more rainbow shirts than I've ever seen anybody wear. He does not care.
I have one. Diamondback shirt. That's the rainbow shirt. That's it.
He wears it all the time.
I do like it. I'm not going to lie about that. I do like that. Wait, here's just a question, dude. Are we really going to end this coaching carousel without Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick or Pete Carroll getting a job?
No.
Because if that's the case, I think those dudes are done.
Dan Quinn got a job. Do you see that?
Yeah. And then how did he get a job?
He's the dude. So Ron Rivera was the Commanders coach, and now he's applying for the job with the Cowboys to be the defensive coordinator. So I'm like,
what kind of freaking carousel is that, man?
That's in the same NFC East,
same division.
And how does Dan Campbell put on a Commanders anything?
Hey, Dan Quinn, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, Dan Quinn. How does he put on a Commanders? You've been a Cowboy fan, dominating their world.
I'll say this: he does that with a $7 million check.
I know.
So I will be honest, dude. I freaking hate the Cowboys and I hate the Lakers. If they came with a $7 million check for me and says, hey, come represent us.
Money talks.
I'm there, baby.
I don't know. See, I would not. I mean, I would wear a Redskin shirt or a Commander shirt.
Yeah.
But I'd have a Cowboy shirt underneath. I wouldn't let it touch my skin.
I'm just saying, the thing that I don't understand is like the reason why the Cowboys lost that playoff game wasn't because of Dak Prescott. It's because that quote vaunted defense, the best defense since the '85 Bears, which I feel like I hear
they were up into that game.
Okay, They gave up 42 points to a 9-8 Packers team with essentially a rookie quarterback.
The Packers are the Achilles heel. Okay.
I'm just saying, I did not understand why. Also, for Dan Quinn, why would you take that job?
Well,
why would you? I don't. I mean, I guess maybe it's because Dan you got new Quinn, owners.
I blame him more than I blame anybody for losing that game.
Yeah.
Because he played aggressive defense the entire time and then sat back and said, hey, let's play coverage and let him pick us apart. And Jordan Love, who he was mentored by somebody that picks apart people for a living, right? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And you're going to say, yeah, we'll give him a shot. And I'm like, no, I don't like his teacher. He was taught by one of the best. Like, no.
Like his teacher.
No. I'm good. Like, nope. Go get him.
I love that you said, no. That guy was taught way too well. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I really should step back and say, okay, you know, the Commanders do have the number 2 overall pick. They do have the new ownership group. They are in a really rabid fan base in Washington, D.C. So, I mean, I guess they got a lot of good things going for them. But I also got to say that they've been a pretty bad organization for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And this ownership group is unproven. You don't know how patient they're going to be. They obviously just fired that coach after 1 year. You know, Ron Rivera's gone after 1 year being there. But then he was kind of on his way out to begin with. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see the Dan Quinn thing. He's already failed in Atlanta. A terrible showing his final game in Dallas. I could be wrong. I mean, he might be the right guy. I mean, there was a bunch of love for him here last cycle, and he opted not to take the Cardinals job and went back to Dallas for 1 more year as a defensive coordinator. But I don't want to talk about him. I don't give a crap about him. I'm just shocked that Mike Vrabel didn't get a job.
Yeah,
shocked.
It's not over yet, but it's definitely closing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the job openings. What's one going to want? Is he going to want to go up to Atlanta? Did Atlanta hire a head coach yet? No, they did.
No, who'd they hire?
They did. They hired an offensive coordinator. Who was offensive coordinator they hired? But because it was a shock that Bill Belichick didn't get the job. They hired somebody. So I'm looking at it. I don't know what openings there are left.
He'll be a coach. He'll go be a defensive coordinator for somebody.
Yeah, but that's not the same. I mean, that's a huge step back.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to. Not that he deserved to get a step back.
He did not deserve a step back.
I don't know why. They pulled the trigger. Titans should have never done that.
No, they should not. That was a bad fire.
Yeah, that was just that. It was a knee-jerk reaction they couldn't go back on.
I mean, I say I don't have any idea what it was like inside that building, so I'm obviously pretty stupid to say that. But I looked at Mike Vrabel from the outside and said, that dude's a coach. That dude is a coach. I've never looked at the Titans roster and said, oh, yeah, man, that's a great roster. I mean, the things that he was able to do with them was unreal. Like, dude,
their quarterback.
Remember when he turned Derrick Henry completely in a 180? Derrick Henry's career was headed down the drain.
And he made him.
And Mike Vrabel came in and said, no, dude, you are the man. Be the man.
Who's now dressing out in cowboy gear. He's a cowboy. Dude, if Derrick Henry becomes a cowboy.
Good for you.
Bro.
We'll have the same conversation.
It'll be our year next year.
I was gonna say we'll have the same conversation after week 1.
No, I don't want to talk about it. No,
but I will say this: anybody that gets Derrick Henry, I am jealous.
Yeah,
because that is a man among men.
He's a Mack truck running a football.
Anytime that you can talk about a guy like that in a league known for absolute beasts of humans, that that you are something more. You are something more when you are that feared and that respected universally, where it's like, okay, dude, you're a man.
And Vrabel made him.
Yeah,
and then totally you cut him. Who was the Titans quarterback?
Ryan Tannehill.
He was not.
Oh, okay.
It was another kid this year.
No,
which proves to your point even more. He was a good
Malik. Was it Malik Willis? No. It's the Kentucky guy. Oh, he was the second round pick, Kentucky.
Yeah,
Will Levis.
Yes, Levis. That's who it was. Yeah. They were competitive this year. And who's Will Levis?
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody knows who Will Levis is. How many
No.
names did I go through? I said Malik Willis before.
Right. Yeah.
So, but the thing that I'm trying to make is like, they took that team. Remember when that team was humming? Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback.
Yeah.
He was a cast-off from Miami, a failed experiment in Wyoming. In Miami, he went to Nashville with the Titans with Derrick Henry, and suddenly they became the kings of the AFC South for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? And they did that without a receiving. Well, no, A.J. Brown was there, but the point I'm trying to make is like that was Mike Vrabel and his team. Like that, there's not a player on that defense that I want.
And now for him not to be,
and now he's not a coach
at all.
And here's the 2 people that I'm looking at specifically. Mike Vrabel's going to be a head coach again in the NFL. Yeah. It will happen. I'm surprised it didn't happen this go around.
I think he'll be a Patriots head coach.
No, he's not.
I know. I think he will be. I think he will be the head coach of the Patriots.
If Gerard Mayo,
2-3 years from now, when this tanks, right? Because the only reason he's there, they gave him the job because that's what he was promised in his contract. That when Bill left, he would get the job. Well, now you gotta never. I think it was you were talking to about. You don't want to be the guy behind
After
the guy. Yeah, you want to be the next guy.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He's not. It's
Gerard Mayo is set up to fail.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the premise with Alabama's Nick Saban. You just did the same thing with Bill Belichick, and I'm like, I don't.
Kalen DeBoer is in a real tight spot.
Yeah,
if he doesn't have immediate success, he's going to get it right after 3 years.
Yep.
But do you think Belichick ever coaches again, or Pete Carroll? I think Pete Carroll might be done. If he didn't get a job this go around, I didn't hear his name up for a single opening. He's 72. Belichick's 71.
Why don't they just let it go? I know that's that part of who they are.
The thing with Pete Carroll is I could see him being done, right? And the reason why I say that is because he's got no records he's chasing after. If he wants to coach, he can coach.
Yeah.
I certainly think that he's got a spot if he wants to. He definitely shows it seems like he has the energy for it. But Bill Belichick, he's 15 wins away from being the winningest coach.
Yeah,
that's not something I think he really wants to look at and say, you know what? No, I'm good. No, I've had my run.
I know you could say it out loud, but deep down you're like, no, I want hire me to win 2 years. Let me win 15 games.
2 years.
And
all I need is 2 years, and I'll have it. Right? If you give me an average team, and in 2 years I'll be the all-time winningest coach, and I can ride off into the sunset, and you can do whatever you want. But I also look at that from an organization's perspective. I don't want you for 2 years. I'm not hiring just a guy for 2 years. I want to hire a guy that's going to take my team to prominence. If you're only going to be here for 2 years, what am I investing in? So I understand a team's perspective of kind of not wanting to do that, but we're saying that we're not going to hire the greatest coach of all time. This is also the same. This is the same NFL that nobody tried to sign Lamar Jackson last season when he was basically a free agent, right? You could have signed him to a contract, and you would have had to give the Ravens, I think it was either I think you had to give them 1 first-round pick. You sacrificed your 1 first-round draft pick if you signed their contract. Nobody even offered him anything. The Atlanta Falcons, an absolutely terrible organization, right? They have no quarterback to speak of. They have nothing there that says that, oh no, this is the guy of the future. You didn't want to go and just sign Lamar Jackson to an offer sheet and give up a first-round pick to have the MVP of the league?
Yeah, who did they take for their first round?
They took the running back out of Texas.
Yeah, so they could. It's not like they didn't get a quarterback because I think it was Mariota started for a while, and then it was somebody else this year. Right?
Mariota, he wasn't there last year. He was the backup in Philadelphia. The guy that they had this year was, and I can't even remember his name, but he was hard to watch. He was not any
that's
good
how
at
bad
all.
It is, dude. That's how I can't even remember. Mariota hasn't been there in a year.
No.
You're right, and that's the last time I remember watching the Falcons play on. I'm like, I didn't pay attention to that.
But that's also because they've been a nothing. They're not worth paying attention to. The Cardinals played them this year. I have no recollection of who they had under center. I don't. And it was one of those things, again, it frustrates me because I'm looking at it and saying, you guys, all of you guys in that front office thought you were way smarter. We're not going to go out and get Lamar Jackson, even though he is the MVP of the league, a 2-time MVP, who's like 26 years old. No. We know better than signing that guy. These are the same people that said, you know what? No. We know better than we got to hire a different head coach. We're going to go and hire a different guy. I think it was the
Chargers. Wasn't it? Who hired the Chargers offensive coordinator? Some coach they had. It might have been Atlanta. Somebody hired the Chargers.
Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, right?
He's now in Philly.
Yeah, because he was there last year. I don't know. I want to say, wasn't it the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers?
Dude, I honestly
took the job.
I don't even know.
It doesn't matter. Who the crap cares? AFC South sucks anyway. I just think it's crazy that we're talking about 3 really great coaches left on the outside who aren't getting jobs, and they're just out there. And maybe ain't gonna happen for them at all. I guess that's all over for them.
That'll be interesting to see how it pans out for sure.
I got a question for you, man. How much faith do you put in the GM of your teams?
Well, you see, you're talking to a guy whose GM's also the owner, which has worked out as of late in some sense, but in the grand scheme of things,
has won nothing.
It has done nothing for us, right? And I don't know that would be the thing. I don't know that the GM coming in would. I mean, quite honestly, you could argue Mike McCarthy, the play caller, is the problem, or Dak, of course, but I don't. Like I don't know. Dude, your GM should be in control of a lot, and as an owner, you should be like, hey, just tell me what's going on. But you're kind of in control here. But that doesn't happen with my experience with teams. So
the reason why I asked this question is there's been a couple of things that have happened recently that have made me really question how much faith I put in GMs. And okay, one, the Phoenix Suns had the opportunity to draft one Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA draft a couple years ago. Tyrese Halliburton is lighting the league on fire with the Indiana Pacers. Okay. And he is doing that when he was I believe, the number 12 overall draft pick. When the Suns drafted number 11, one Jalen Smith, who does not play for the Suns anymore, didn't even play 2 years with the Suns, who is now also with the Indiana Pacers because he was a cast-off. Okay. And I remember during the draft, I remember my nephew, the radio announcers, everybody was blowing their mind, like their mind were blown. How could we have passed on Tyrese Halliburton? He was the perfect draft pick for a team whose point guard, at that time, Chris Paul, was aging and old. This guy's perfect. He would be the perfect guy to slide right in, learn from Chris Paul, and we can move on from Chris Paul when he got old. And we'd have Tyrese Halliburton, this burgeoning superstar. Well, again, with the 12th overall pick, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but they thought he was going to. I mean, there was lots of people out there saying this is going to be the great guy. I, at the time, audibly, many times, said out loud, "Hey, you know what? I was wrong about Cam Johnson when James Jones, picked him. I was wrong about that, and so I am just going to go ahead and say, James, you know best. I don't." And since I said
how's that working out for you?
No, it has not worked out for me. It has not worked out for me. And I remember now I'm thinking like, you know what? I need to go back to my guns and be like, you know what? James Jones, that was a horrible decision. Horrible freaking decision. That one's completely blown up because Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar in the East. He is an amazing point guard. And you said he wasn't going to be a point guard. You viewed him as a combo guard at most. He is an amazing point guard at 6'5". That's a huge, awesome point guard. Him next to Devin Booker would have been amazing. We wouldn't have had to trade for Kevin Durant. Not that I'm saying I hate Kevin Durant. At the moment, I didn't want to make the trade, getting rid of Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges.
I still think that was a mistake.
And you're not alone. I understood why we did it, and I feel like it was probably the right choice because we do need something to get us over the edge because we weren't getting there, right, on our own. We needed something to get us up and over that hump. But I look at it and say, dude, oh my gosh, that was a huge, huge swing and a miss. Taking Jalen Smith way earlier than anybody expected him to get picked. And instead, we just passed right over Tyrese Halliburton. That is the reason why this brings us up to now. That was then, this is now. Diamondbacks just signed one Jock Peterson.
I saw this, and he's like, I've never been in 120-degree weather. YOLO. Like,
dude, gosh.
So you'll have to fill me in because I don't watch enough baseball to have any kind of opinion about this kid, but he looks goofy. But like his comment about that, I'm like, who is he good?
No, he is. Oh, okay. Once upon a time, Jock Peterson was supposed to be the next big thing for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's a lefty. He played center field. They thought he had a lot of pop in his bat. And, he had a couple good seasons. But you know what the Dodgers did? They let him walk. They don't care. They're not it. They're not it for us.
They said no thanks.
Yeah, go on, move on. So he's been with the Braves and with the Giants. And neither stop in which he was an amazing player. He just like oozes that total tool bag baseball player vibe. And I've never been a fan of his. And when I heard that we were interested in him, I was very like, oh, gosh. Because the two players that were most heavily rumored for us to be going after was JD Martinez, who has played for us before and was amazing when he played for us. You saw me catch his home run ball.
Oh, yeah. That was the coolest experience.
Yes, dude.
Listen, for those who don't know what we're talking about, which is probably most of you, I'm sitting at home watching, I don't know, sports recap on Fox 10 News, and it's a Diamondbacks game, and you see this home run, and we should that should be our Instagram post. I still have the video saved, and it's nobody other than you catching a home run ball, and just the excitement on your face was just out of control. Like, you would have thought this was like Game 7 of the World Series, and you just caught the game-winning ball.
And it was a game in the middle of September.
It was awesome,
dude. I was so cool. Stoked.
I was like, no way,
dude. I remember getting the text like, "Is this you?" I'm like, yes, it's me.
I think I sent you a video text. Yes. Nothing like watching it because I played it back,
dude. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was so awesome. That was like you and I first met. Like, you didn't even really know me very well. Like, no. I don't even think we had each other's phone numbers. I think you probably texted Carl and Kara.
Probably. Yep.
Anyway, so what I'm saying is like, why are we even talking about that?
GMs.
Oh, no. JD Martinez. Yes. JD Martinez, great player when he was here. He was only with us for half of the season. He's a free agent. So he was one of those guys that was tied to us. The other guy's name is Jorge Soler. Very strong, power hitting right-handed hitter out of Miami. He's a free agent. So those two guys, I'm like, one guy's 31, I think, Jorge Soler. JD Martinez is a little bit older. He's 38. So it's like, okay, you know what? JD's a little bit old. He's probably not going to play any in the field. He's only going to be a designated hitter. But then we went and got Jock Peterson, who can't for the life of him. If he needed to save the life of him and his family, would not be able to hit a left-handed pitcher. He can't do it.
Maybe the Diamondbacks will be the answer. Maybe you're looking at it wrong.
But see, this is where I'm asking the question. How much do you trust your GMs? Because so far, the Diamondbacks GM, Mike Hazen, he is the Midas man in Arizona. I mean, all of his draft picks of them, almost every single one of them has panned out. Not all of his trades. A lot of his trades have not. Free agent signings specifically have not. But he has been so... I mean, dude, we just went to the World Series with one of the youngest teams I've ever watched compete for a full season. And that was his team he constructed. That's not what he inherited. So I look at it and say, okay, how much am I supposed to trust this guy? James Jones, up to that point, had done a lot of things that I disagreed with, but shoot, we went to the NBA Finals, so I mean, he knows he's doing something. But since then, we've been missing it in the playoffs, and we missed out on a huge big time player. Am I supposed to just throw my hands up and say, "Hey, Mike Hazen, you know what you're doing," or am I supposed to go with my gut here and say, "Freaking Jock Peterson, are you kidding me?"
You need to have a little faith.
Okay, all right. I'll just have to,
just roll the dice. I don't know, dude. GMs, it's a crapshoot anyway with who they're picking and what they're doing. I mean, it's all just a hunch. They really don't have any factual data to back up that, because when you make the jump from any kind of minor league, college, or whatever into the pros, which is in every sport significantly faster, harder, stronger, whatever, right? You never know. Like a guy, you look at there's certain quarterbacks who are phenomenal in college. And they make it to the pros, and they just don't hold up.
Oh, dude, that's probably that's probably the one where, as any sports fan, whether you're a huge football fan, huge baseball fan, huge basketball fan, whatever, that's probably the one that people look at and universally know that is the most impossible position to predict.
Yep.
And call back to the beginning of the episode. Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft, is in the Super Bowl, led his team to the Super Bowl. He is a huge reason why they're there. And guess who's not? Many number one overall draft pick quarterbacks.
I was going to say, who is the last number one overall draft pick that was a quarterback that has done something for the organization they went to? And that's, to their credit, I will say that most of the time they go to the worst team. Yes. So it's really hard to be successful, whereas Brock Purdy being the last pick, he got put on a very good team that was set up for success, and he just happened to be the key to make them successful.
Right.
So it is hard to be. You almost don't want to go first. You almost just want to say, no, I'll take the second round. I'll take the third round, because at least I'll go to a team where I can be behind an Aaron Rodgers, or, even Trey Lance is learning behind Dak Prescott, right? Maybe
what's he learning? How to choke?
Not to choke. Okay, this is what he did. Don't do this.
Just kidding.
Right? But at least they're learning. Whereas if you look at Trevor Lawrence, phenomenal Clemson, right? I loved watching Clemson play with him. He was just great. And then they make it into the pros, and it's not his fault. Where does he go? The Jacksonville Jaguars. Have they been? I mean,
he's taken to the playoffs one time,
and they haven't won. No. They didn't win the playoffs. He got them there, but he's just struggling to stay afloat in the realm of good quarterback talk because of where he plays.
No, you're right. So I'm a firm believer that when it comes to it's almost like the parenting. Is it nature or is it nurture? Right? Is it nature? Yeah. Are you born this way or are you nurtured that way? I do think that when it comes to specifically quarterbacks drafted in the NFL, one of the biggest predictors of success is where you go in the draft, because that makes such a big difference if you go to a good organization that actually knows what they're doing versus going to a piece of crap organization, aka the Browns or the Jets or the Jaguars, who've never had success, never do have success, and every player that goes there watches their career completely fall apart. But to answer your question from earlier, is what number one overall draft picks have actually proven to be worth it. The two that came to my mind that were relevant, recently. One, Cam Newton got him to the Super Bowl. He didn't win it, right? His career was relatively short, but he didn't win it. And the other one I was thinking is that maybe it's Andrew Luck. And he didn't get his team ever to the Super Bowl, but when they got to the playoffs, they were never an easy out.
Yeah.
He also had a short career due to injuries.
So sad.
Dude, that's one.
So much hope.
He was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
He was the one quarterback I watched in college where I had no doubt he would succeed in the NFL.
Yeah, he was intelligent. Like you could see it.
Yeah.
Played at Stanford.
Yep. I was saying he made Stanford into a national contender.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, that's the one. But I can't think. And if we went through all the drafts, we'd probably like, okay, yeah, that guy was pretty good. But when you talk about the number one overall draft pick, when it comes to the NFL, and those guys aren't always the surefire guys. I mean,
they're not.
Look at the draft in which Sam Darnold, quarterback for the Baker Mayfield, number one overall draft pick. He's on his fourth team. And guess who's not on their fourth team? Josh Allen, who went number 7 in that draft, and Lamar Jackson, who went number 32 and is going to win his second MVP. So that's where we say where you're drafted matters so much more than when you're drafted.
Yeah, I agree.
But I guess to put a bow on it, like I said, I just got to have faith in Mike Hazen. That signing Jock Peterson's not going to make me want to hate the team.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard.
I don't know him enough to say, but it's going to be tough. I mean, but hopefully we can readdress him. Like, you know what? He was right. I'm eating crow right now, but maybe you're right. Maybe you should be a GM.
I don't know, dude. Because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of decisions that they make that I would never know anything about. But that was just a very deflating decision when I saw that was the money that was where we're going to spend our money. It's like Jock Peterson. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he makes me like him because I've never liked him. I've never even been like ambivalent towards him and had like an indifferent decision. No, I've just not liked him. And probably because he played for the Dodgers.
I was going to say, there's probably some just built up hate because of who he played for, not so much him. And then when he wasn't doing good, it was even better because he played for the Dodgers. So even better. You're like, he really sucks, dude.
But freaking Dodgers fans.
That's probably what it comes down to.
Dodgers and Giants and Braves, all the crappy teams in the NL that I can't stand. And I know that's something you love talking about, baseball, man. That's your thing.
Baseball is, you've heard how much I've said here, dude. It's great. Like, I want to like baseball. I'm hoping to get back into it now. The pitch clock's something, but it's just tough. My dad loved it. My brother loved it. They can sit and watch it. I don't know, dude. I'd rather watch golf.
I do think, oh, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you serious?
Bro, listen, just stop. A guy can take 5 shots, get 500 yards with a ball that's an inch in diameter into a 6-inch cup, bro. Listen.
I am not going to slander or disparage the skill.
Yeah.
But, dude, you want to talk about the most boring televised event?
Have you ever been golfing?
Yeah.
You can't sit and be like, dude, how did he just do that?
No. I'm not saying I can't be amazed by people's skill. But, dude, I can say that about anything that requires skill. Doesn't mean I want to watch it on TV.
Oh, I could watch it all day. My kids hate it. I will sit on.
Dude, I'm with your kids.
The Masters. Oh, bro, we are watching all 4 days of that, dude. Let's go, dude.
This is, guys. I did not know this about Jason. This is totally new. Dude, JJ, that is horrible.
I would watch golf any day of the week over golf or over baseball. I do. It's so much more enjoyable.
Oh, dude, that sounds
I'd rather watch paint dry half the time, dude, unless it's the playoffs of the baseball. Then it's a little different.
That was what my buddy said when I asked him, like, because he's up in Utah. I'm like, hey, so you ever go to Real Salt Lake games? He's like, bro, I'd rather watch paint dry. That was his exact words.
Nope.
And I only wanted to go just because I want to take my son because he's getting into soccer and I want to like foster a love of sport.
Yeah,
so whatever it is, we're into it, man.
Soccer's fun. You'll get into it.
I actually,
it's actually not bad. I can sit now and watch girls soccer all day. It's just now that you watch and see, and it's crazy how like we got you watch the difference between 13-year-old, 15-year-old boys and 15-year-old girls. It's crazy the athleticism, how much boys are just there. Like they're all doing the same kind of plays, but when you see. So my daughter was on, let's see, it just had to be 2 years ago. She was on a really, really good all-girls team. I mean, they were beating girls 12-0, 10-0. My daughter played sweeper keeper, which meant they didn't have a goalie. They had her up and just all the time where if anybody got past their front, she was the one to go get it and just kick it out so they could come back. Well, eventually they moved them into the boys division for the last season. She was able to play in rec. And they were competitive, but there was a significant difference between these 13-year-old girls and these 13-year-old boys.
Oh, yeah.
And it was crazy. But it's still fun to watch now. My point going back is I can sit and watch it all now, especially, but it is kind of crazy how much different it gets. But at least you got boys. They learn quicker. They're just faster, man. It's different.
Yeah, I know it's different. I will say this. It's funny. Is me and my wife, we will dedicate the time when it comes to watching the women's national soccer team. We will set aside the time. Hey, no, we are not missing this. The match starts at 6 a.m. We're up at 5:55. TV's on. We're going to watch it. We do that, and we've done that since we've been married. So I've always been into the women's national team. when it comes to World Cup time, it's always fun. World Cup's awesome, right?
Yeah,
It's
for
awesome. It really just like galvanizes everybody together. Like, all right, dude, we are going to watch this and we're going to root for it. It's our national pride.
And we're going to lose, but it's
no, the women's. The women's we're going to win. It's the men's where it's like, okay, maybe we'll win. Maybe we'll get out of group play.
Let's be a Cinderella team.
Yeah, can we get to the knockout round? Yeah, it's a win. So
it is a win for a bunch of Americans.
Absolutely. So I will say it's always been easier to get into the women's national team, but I that's one of those things. I do think that I am going to really buy in and get into all of soccer. I really think it's going to be something.
Yeah.
I've started watching it on Saturdays, right? Because I don't have football anymore. So what's happening in Saturday morning when I wake up? Not college football, but there's some European soccer on, so I'll watch that.
I'm at the point where I want to coach it, and I know nothing. All I know is you need to be in better shape than the other team. Yes. And you watch these coaches and these guys play. Like my daughters play club. They play in high school football. I call it football, but high school soccer.
You'll call it real, man. It's football.
Yeah. It
makes more sense to call that football than American football. Right. I don't know why we call that football.
I don't even know how that came up. But dude, I'm telling you right now, like the amount of running they don't do is unbelievable. Like I feel like that's what you do the entire time in soccer is run. So why is not at least 20, 30 minutes of your practice dedicated to, like, I don't know, shuttle drills or sprints or something?
Yeah.
Nope.
Suicides up and down the field.
They do scrimmages to practice conditioning. Well, that's great, but if most of these girls don't have the ball near them, they're standing there. That's not conditioning.
Right.
And it drives me nuts. I feel like I could win games, and this is completely uneducated because I know nothing about soccer, but I feel like I could win games because we would be the best in shape team on the field, and we would just run them into the ground.
Hey, let me ask you a question here. Why were Steve Nash, Sean Marion, and Amari Stoudemire so successful in the mid-2000s?
Conditioning.
Because they ran and ran and ran. Nobody was going to outrun that team.
Yep.
So having said that, I want to tell you this, dude. If you don't have NBA League packs, do you?
Nope.
Okay. You might want to invest in it just to watch the Indiana Pacers.
Are they that way?
They
running gun?
Dude, they run and run and run. The game that they lost against the Suns where Devin Booker scored 62 points, it was a track meet. It was unbelievable, the pace. Throw the 7 seconds or less Suns out of the water.
Really?
Like, not even close. It was so fun. And I watched them again tonight against the Knicks. So fun. It is like, dude, I love that pace. I love that we're not going to mess around. We're not going to slowly walk the ball up the court and set, we're going to shoot the ball with 3 seconds left of our 24-second shot clock. No, dude, it is go, 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 go. And the other team, no matter how much they try to control the pace and slow it down, they can't. Yeah. They inevitably get caught up in the same kind of pace that the Pacers do. It's fun.
Because it's rebound, turn, and go.
Yeah.
They're going. They're not waiting around. Go.
I'm telling you, dude.
Outlet, go. Go.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about Tyrese Halliburton, because I've been watching him play a lot. And I knew he was really good, but after watching him, I'm like, dude, this is fun. This is cool.
And we missed him.
Yeah, we missed him. And the guy we took plays with him now because he was so bad, we gave him away. Oh, my gosh. All right, I think that pretty much wraps up tonight. And I'm sure we'll have some stuff to talk about on Monday night if we want to get together and drop something after the trips and leading up to the Super Bowl if we want to do then.
Should be a big time thing going on. The Pro Bowl's this weekend.
Oh.
I know you want to watch flag football.
I'm going to repeat what I said before. Who the crap cares?
Somebody out there cares, all right? You know what? Taylor Swift may be there, and people will care.
You know who cares? The NFL, who's forcing this down our throats to try and turn it into something. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
The only thing that matters is that the players get the recognition for being the best of their position, and we'll call it quits.
So the flag football game's kind of whatever, but I do enjoy the skills competitions. Watching these guys do work, and remember back in the day when you had like Boomer Esiason and Peyton Manning, and these guys chucking the ball as far as they could, right? It's so some of that stuff's pretty cool.
You know what I think would be cool is a combine. Because, as
like
dumb...
Same ideas that they do.
Okay, who's truly the fastest guy?
Oh, like who's a race.
Who's truly the fastest guy in the league? Who's truly the strongest guy in the league?
Maybe you add a bench press, add a 40-yard dash to it, and you just pick the guy on your team who you think, but how would they pick the Pro Bowlers that way?
Well, I think that the Pro Bowlers are the ones that compete in it.
Oh, so that's you just have competitions that way. No, and that'd be fine. It's a skill.
Yeah,
add that to the skill stuff. But the flag football game, where I think it's the Manning brothers that are coaches this year, which will be fun because those two have done a great job.
Peyton and Eli are super entertaining.
They're
guys.
super fun, and I'm sure they'll have the way they talk to each other and their little things they say.
There'll be some trash talk.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. But No, I think, well, make sure you, I know it's hard to say, but have a good weekend. It's going to be tough, but I hope your family gets, closure and you have some celebration for grandma. I think it'll be good for you.
Yeah,
guys.
we absolutely will. I know we will. I know it's going to be one of those things where it's always going to be a little bit bittersweet, but like I said before, 99 years, it's hard to be upset about that. You just have to celebrate with the amazing
I hope
time.
I can live that long.
Yeah.
Dude, my dad is the oldest living person that I know in my family, and he died at 65.
Hey, man, you got some workout cut up for you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, I gotta stay eating healthy, stay away from like try doing something, man. But yeah, I'm hopeful. But
well, I hope that your trip is equally as exciting, being the basically designated driver for the trip.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be fun. We're we're a bunch of middle-aged guys going to Vegas. It's not anything crazy, but it'll be a good time. It's just good company, good to get back. Those guys like to gamble a lot, so it's always fun to watch somebody else lose money. But hopefully they win a lot. It'd be better if they win a lot,
Oh yeah, because you know that they're going to be taking you out too.
Yeah, we're going out. We're all going out. Yeah.
Nice.
So it'll be good. So,
all right, man. Well, you got your sign off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like fat kids in dodgeball. We're out.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.